What's up, guys and gals? Welcome back to the Nerd Castle for the first episode in our series on Convoy. So this is a game that I'm a little bit on the fence about, but I figured for the Phantom 409 fans out there, I wanted to make them rejoice and get like a little bead of sweat of excitement on their brow. And so I figured we played the game. The game is a self-described mix between Mad Max and FTL. I don't know if I really... That comparison is okay, but what I'd really call it is just a real-time strategy game with random events in between. Like, that's pretty much the way that I would talk about it. There's not really, like, the systems management that you would find in FTL. The Mad Max environment is pretty cool. It's a very, very difficult game, so if you've only watched the pre-release versions of this game from, like, 6 months ago, when the Kickstarter backers got access to the game, you'll want to watch this again, because the developers listened to what people were saying, and they thought that the game was too easy, and so now the game is ludicrously difficult. And so this is one of those games that some people are really going to like to bang their head against, and other people are just going to be like, meh, and walk away from. That being the case, I didn't really have much going on today, so I figured I would film a series on it. I've got about 10 hours played. I've won the game 0 times, even on the easiest difficulty, so I figured this will probably be a very, very short stop in the world of Convoy, but I wanted to give it the old college try and, you know, make an appearance of it, because I do think the game is unique. And whereas it won't be everybody's cup of tea, I think it is reasonably fun given the proper stimuli, and you'll see what I mean later on. There's a lot of RNG in this game, and so if you get good RNG, the game is fairly pleasurable. If you get bad RNG, it's one of those games where you're just like, "Argh!" and you roll around on the floor being upset. And so let's start a new game, shall we? The ultimate course of the game is to protect this vehicle right here using all of your other vehicles. Over time, you will unlock things. I should have unlocked something by now because I know that I've beaten a lot of mini-bosses and random stuff. Nothing seems to have unlocked though, so maybe I just didn't read the achievements properly. And so you don't want to think about easy mode as actual easy mode in this game. There are 3 difficulties: easy, medium, and hard. And these actually change the difficulty of encounters, they change the RNG, and they additionally start you out with various amounts of fuel and resources. I would call this starter difficulty, not easy. The reason I would call it starter difficulty is that you're meant to like unlock a bunch of the extra stuff in this difficulty so that you can use them in higher difficulties to have a better chance of survival. And so since I have nothing unlocked after 10 hours, yes, that's just how good of a gamer I am, I figure we'll just get started with what we have. And so this vehicle cannot move. We have to protect it. We'll talk about the combat when we get there, but let's rename some of these bastards. I want this to be the Woogie, because Woogie was our weaponized Roomba from Shadowrun. On this unit, I'm going to call it the McGriddle. Yeah, that's right, McDonald's. You owe me a check. Actually, don't send it. I'm going to talk about McGriddles in just a second, but McGriddles are like the worst food that's ever been invented by man. I ate one before I went to school one time, and it made me sick like all day just from the sheer sugar intake. It was brutal. And our MCV comes with an EMP blaster on top, but it's really, I don't know. Quad Cat seems cool. I'll call it the Quad Cat, although it's not really quads, is it? Because it's got 8 wheels. So, does that still count as a quad? It's a double quad. I guess you could get away with a quad duo. The Quad Duo Cat, we'll call it that. The Quad Duo Cat. There. I want it to be appropriately named so that people, when they see the name, they're like, oh, it's called a Quad Duo. And I'd be like, yeah, look, it's got a duo of quads, or maybe a duo quad would be the better way to do it. Anyways, I'm going to call it the Quad Duo. So there it is. Off we go. Let's fly, shall we? Or let's drive, I guess. Welcome to Convoy. After enduring an ion storm, your spaceship was forced to make an emergency landing on the planet Omek Prime due to critical damage to its primary systems. Essentially, it got kicked in the spaceship junk, and now it's rolling around on the ground going, The captain has ordered you to traverse the planet in search of replacement parts. Obtaining these will allow the spaceship to continue its mission. Of course he has. I assume he's going to be doing the customary captain duty of drinking coffee and smoking cigarettes while we're out getting shot at. The captain wants you to collect the following parts and bring them to the spaceship. The R998X chip, that sounds like some kind of workout video. Flux capacitors for time travel. Sonic screws, just in case physical screws aren't enough. And self-sealing stem bolts. I have no idea what those are, but I figure we'll go take a look. Omek Prime is a world filled with danger. 3 factions vie for control of the planet. They are the Privateers, the Raiders, and the Torvac. Managing to survive the harsh world where most arguments are settled with violence is key to your success. Well, luckily, I'm about 50% barbarian right now, so that should work out perfectly fine. Let us drive off into the sunset, shall we? Let's make a dust trail. So this is the main way you're going to be interacting with the game. You right-click to move around. Very, very simple. You've got your ship stats up here, your armor, your HP. You have the Quad Duo Cat, which is your main mobile construction vehicle's HP and AP right here. There's its special ability using its EMP blaster. It can stun in combat for 6 seconds. The overlays that you're seeing, you can see it a little bit right there. If it has a blue overlay, it's Torvac territory. Red overlay, it's Raider territory. Green overlay, it's Privateer territory. The thicker the shading is, the stronger they are in that location. and so you'll want to stay out of the darker areas until you level up a little bit more. We have 100 parts and 75 fuel to get started out with, which is pretty sweet, and we're on a topographic map, which makes me feel right at home, because as a geologist, this is what I was actually trained to do. I make these maps right here. That's what a geologist does for a living. You make these maps right here, and so you find a location, you walk around, you leave little lines around, and then you kind of use a compass to track things in. Now, there's a couple of notable things here that make this map worthless. It doesn't have a north indicator, and it doesn't have a contour interval. And so without a north arrow and without a contour interval, unfortunately, this is sort of just like relationless. A contour interval is essentially how much altitude you gain in between these lines right here. And so it can be 10 meters, it can be 100 meters. It just really sort of depends on the map. Without a north arrow or a south arrow or any sort of directional arrow, unfortunately, this is unreferenced material, and so you're kind of just floating on a map in which you don't know what any of the directions are. So I'd recommend they add a north arrow and maybe a contour interval in here somewhere for realism's sake. Just saying. These little things, that yellow thing that I just drove into, it's a radio broadcast. And it's a place where you go to do an event, a quest, or something else. And so the tower is being broadcasted? I don't even know what a past is. Well, the past is the thing you've already been through. It's a broadcast. It's a broadcast from the past. There it is. The signal is broadcasted from a decrepit shutter semaphore tower. I don't know what semaphore means, but it sounds important. Its shutters still seem to be switching in a fixed pattern. There's a typographical error right there. Let's investigate. Judging from the equipment inside, you suspect this tower to have been part of a larger number of Murray 6-shutter optical telegraphs. You haven't seen any other towers, though, making this lone remaining one all the stranger. Let's look for loot. After a thorough investigation, you find the tower has been automated to repeat a single message indefinitely. You're not sure what it means, but the message is GNU Terry Pratchett. It would appear to be possible to take apart the equipment for parts, although you're not sure if you should. Part of the GNU herd, huh? Running with the Torvalds. Alright, well, let's take it apart. Taking apart the equipment, you manage to get 130 parts. The shutters in the tower stay silent as you return to your convoy. That's pretty good. We got a lot of money right now, and so what we want to do is back at our ship over here, we can get repairs, and we can get fuel, but we can't get any new guns or anything. And what we really want to do is we want to upgrade our equipment right now so that we can get engaged in fisticuffs, shoot-a-cuffs, whatever you want to call it, whatever you want to do to your cuffs. We want to be engaged in that, unless it's dying in your cuffs. We don't want to play a game of die-a-cuff. You come across a KJL trading caravan heading the other way. Since these are relatively safe lands, they seem to lack any armed envoy. Let's hail them. Greetings, what can we do for you? Can we buy anything? We have a mighty fine selection of items for you to peruse. We can get a heavy beam laser. That sounds pretty badass. That's one of my favorite weapons in the game, and I think we should probably take that. We could just kill them all and take the stuff that we want. That's the other option. I mean, playing this game like a total sociopath does seem to work out in the long run. My last couple playthroughs, the ones where I behave like an animal are the ones where I come closest to winning, so I don't know. The heavy beam laser is a tough call because it's like one of the really, really good guns in this game, and it would give us a leg up over the competition really, really early on. And you can't guarantee that if we kill them, we'll get the same array of items. We may get some parts and some other stuff, but we might not get the laser. Let's get the laser. Thank you very much for your commerce. We could kill them now that we have the laser. Now die! Your superior firepower completely wipes out the KJL transport caravan. There are no survivors. Looting the wrecks, we get 44 parts, and we get 11 fuel. Cool. Great, now let's leave, because you don't want to stand next to a crime scene. I want to go and what we have right here. So let's talk about vehicles. So this is the garage menu. In clicking on any of these vehicles, each vehicle has a number of slots where you can put items, whether they be utility, leadership items, or weapons. You have stats, which is health, HP, armor, which is damage mitigation, handling, which is your speed and your ability to turn and corner, range, which is how far you can shoot, and mine guard, which is how well your vehicle deals with debris and running into mines. Over here on this side, let's equip this guy right here because he's the one that's going to have the death laser here. That's a big-ass laser for such a small truck. I feel like we're probably denting the cab right now. It's like leaning inwards like... Meow. Either way, let's increase his range slightly because if we can't reach the enemy, there's no point shooting at them. We'll increase armor slightly right now as well. On this vehicle is actually the exact same thing as the vehicle above, except that instead of 2 weapon slots, it has a weapon slot and a hybrid slot. The utility hybrid slot can be used for sort of orchestrating a number of strategies, which will make this vehicle much better at whatever job it is you're trying to get it to do at the expense of firepower. So it's kind of a side grade by comparison to the other ship. I would rather myself, or the other truck anyways, I would rather have 2 trucks that have double weapon mounts at this point in the game. But later on, this hybrid turret will be, or this utility mount will be very, very useful. Let's go for some range right there, and we'll go for a little bit of armor, and we'll confirm that. We have a lot of fuel right now, so let's ride on out. I think there's a little bit of violence. Actually, what was on sale right here so that I can note it for later? They are selling a Clear Eagle truck. They're selling a heavy plasma blaster, very effective against armor and does nothing to health. That's unfortunate, but you could make a double medium rocket artillery ship that would do a lot of damage, like a straight dope amount of damage, so that might be a cool plan. Maybe come back here, buy the Clear Eagle, and then add some missiles to it, and then we could do some Hellfire action possibly. Either way, things to keep in mind of. Now then, we want to look around for radio signals. It's a really, really big deal. We also want to do the self-sealing stem bolt since it's the easiest quest in the early game. And so let's go have a look and see if we can find this. I'm going to try not to sustain too much damage right now. Obviously, that seems like a really obvious thing to do. You approach the radio signal and it sounds like an emergency broadcast. You see a few transport vehicles in the distance. We radio in. Thank God, some other people. We're part of the KJL Trading Company. We're en route to deliver some shipments. My head logistics officer, however, is a bloody fool and had us leave with too little fuel. So we're stranded out here and we're in need of it. I don't suppose you'd care to help us out. We could make it worth your while. How about we just kill you and take your loot? Sociopathic tendencies ago. You power up your weapons and watch everybody freak out in a wild panic. Some of the people have weapons and try to defend themselves, but they are no match for your superior firepower. I like the fire puns right there. They're no match for our firepower. We don't have any flamethrowers, though, because that would make it even more punny, but still. They managed to damage one of your vehicles regardless. Let's investigate the wrecks. We got a light machine gun and an aid unit. That's actually pretty cool. The aid unit will help us out with some strategies for the future. So we got a buzzsaw, we got an aid unit. This will all play in just a moment. We'll talk in a second about how this is all going to work out. It doesn't look like we took any damage. Are you sure we took damage? Sometimes the game has little buggy things that take place where it can be difficult to figure out if you're actually... We need to do self-sealing stem bolts, though, first. So let's go out this way. Out of nowhere, a hail of bullets hits one of your vehicles. It's an ambush. With some quick evasive movements, your convoy manages to remain unscathed thus far. It's time to fight on back. It's going to suck if they come from the front, though, because then that's not fighting back. That's fighting front. Ah, over here, okay. What I would like to do for right now is let's stun up some of these vehicles so that they can't quite move around, and I think that that laser is going to be a very, very intelligent acquisition for us. I'm going to keep the fire being arrayed about our enemy's head, neck, and shoulders for right now. We can ram people, so since this is our first introduction to combat, let me talk about some stuff here. This right here, the green circle is our range. So this is the range these guys can occupy with their fire. If we double click on our enemy unit, it means we're going to ram them, which will move them to the next space over and damage both of our vehicles, so mine and his, unless you have an aid unit, which is how that plays in. The aid unit will cause the vehicle to no longer take damage. So if I ram somebody and I have an aid unit on, I don't take any damage. Or if somebody rams me while I have an aid unit on, I can't take any damage. Just a useful little thing to have around, and it's probably what I'm going to drop on this guy right here. Let's deal some more damage. Our vehicles are equipped with machine guns. This guy has a 60mm cannon, which is a slow-fire weapon, which has a high chance to miss, but deals a lot of damage when it does land. The laser cannon that you're seeing right now is actually a really, really big deal by comparison to a lot of the other weapons in the game. That skull you're seeing right there means that there's an instant death trap coming up along. It could be a mesa, it could be a big gap in the road, it could be an overpass. It's really hard to tell sometimes, but if you are in this space when this skull goes away, you'll probably get wiped out by some large anomaly in the middle of your battlefield. So watch out. Assuming that this was actually an exclamation point, what'll happen is it'll just be like a mine, or it'll be some random piece of debris that you can plow your way through if you want to. So if you're a fan of the plowing, you will be able to do that during the course of this playthrough. We got another buzzsaw, 36 parts and 12 fuel. I'll take them. We're looking pretty good right now. Let's move in this direction. I want to do the stem bolts quest. Now, with the topographic map, the higher altitude you are, so the deeper the coloration of the map, the slower you move. And so you really want to sort of limit yourself to moving around on low points in the altitude. God, there's no places down here to repair my stuff, is there? This is gonna suck. This has the chance to really, really backfire on me. Privateer vehicles are chasing your convoy through the desert and are attempting to radio you. Hell no, Cuba Gooding Jr. Let's get up in here and turn and fight. I don't believe in running away. It's not a strategy that I personally employ. Not one that I respect either. Discretion being the greater part of valor only works if I worry for my life. And right now, we have superior firepower to an almost ridiculous extent, so we do have to maintain line of sight. I was going to bring that up along the way, that if you're out of line of sight, unfortunately, you aren't going to be able to shoot at some of these guys, so your trucks do block each other off. You can get dumbfire weapons, though. Things like Hellfire missiles and stuff like that pop off very, very quickly, and they can fire over things, and so keep that in mind if that's something that you want to accomplish. Having at least one vehicle in your convoy that can make use of dumbfire technology is actually fairly wise, so it basically just locks on and fires the missiles, and they can fly over mountains, they can fly over other vehicles. Really, really cool stuff to have around. I like having missile ships around. The old catapult strategy from MechWarrior. Still, we need the self-sealing stem bolts now because I think that's the easiest of all the high-level quests. So we'll go after that. And while we're here, I don't suppose there's a camp around, huh? No, there's not. That's bad. You arrive at the office of Eiffels Incorporated, a large building which probably also houses the actual production facilities surrounded by an electric fence. It looks exceptionally well defended. The fence has auto turrets positioned along its circumference, and you see signs indicating a minefield and heavy vehicles patrolling the perimeter. Before you can approach any further, someone attempts to radio you. Open communications. Welcome to Eiffels Incorporated. You have been cleared for a meeting with our chief executive officers. Please approach our facility on foot. We shall provide transportation at the gate. We have to come in shoeless? That doesn't seem to be very pleasant. I mean, you could at least put out red carpets or something if I'm going to be shoeless. We wish you a pleasant stay. You were taken inside the building, brought to a conference room, and told to wait. And so we do. After some time, two slick-looking businessmen entered the room and introduced themselves as the Eiffels brothers. We welcome you to our fine establishment. Is it safe to assume you're here to acquire some of our stem bolts? That is correct. Naturally, we have many customers for our steam stem bolts. Of course, we may be able to strike a deal if you're willing to pay more than our other customers. We think that $500 sounds like a fair price. Hell no. How unfortunate. Well, then I'm afraid we won't be able to lower our price. That would hardly be fair to our other customers. I'm afraid you'll have to look elsewhere for your stem bolts then. You know you have a monopoly. Quite right. I suppose we do. And we realize your desperation. Considering the state of your spaceship, we are not unkind men. So we have a little endeavor for you to accomplish. In return, we shall provide you with the stem bolts. Eiffels Incorporated is always looking to expand, such as the corporate life. You understand, there's one particularly problematic individual standing in the way of progress, however. We would like you to head over to this individual and persuade him to part with the deed of his land one way or another. Your methods are none of our concern. Are we in agreement? Well, that's not much of a choice, so wonderful. We shall supply you with the coordinates of the particular individual. Please return to us once you've acquired the deed of the land, and we shall have your stem bolts ready. Good day, sir, and the best of luck to you. You're led out of Eiffels Incorporated and return to your convoy. Okay, so he's going to be way up to the north, it looks like. We're only in light-colored territory right now, so I'm hoping we don't get wiped out. Whilst driving through the blistering sands, you spot a lone Torvac vehicle driving in the distance. So in the lore, the Torvac are kind of like the Protoss. They have less units, but theirs tend to be more expensive and better equipped. Seems fishy and avoid contact. The lone Torvac vehicle seems unfazed. It continues on its way, and you continue on yours. The vehicle actually, there's stealth guys all around it, in case you were wondering. I do have metagame knowledge when I play this. We don't happen to have like a nearest camp around, right? Well, nearest camp is sort of relative. 200 kilometers away is pretty far, but we should be able to make it over here. And it aligns with our previous strategy of making it over for the self-stealing stem bolts. The scanner shows several blips, but they were just some tumbleweeds. Hooray! Just tumbleweeds. That makes me feel so much better. Is that the stem bolts right there? Okay, let's go to the nearest camp and equip up first, though. I think it's more important right now. So we need to go to a garage, we need to get our guns all nice and affixed to our vehicles because there is a strategy that we need to employ. Ooh, your radio picks up a signal and you hear a mad voice gibber, another fool fell for it, activate the mines and kill them all. Suddenly surrounded by blinking red lights and raider vehicles approach you. This event sucks because it basically guarantees you're going to take damage because your MCV can't move out of the way of the mines. It's a stationary vehicle. That's one of the reasons why I actually strongly dislike this event. So seeing as we got to get rid of this laser guy over here, we don't really have a whole lot of other options. We've been EMP'd and stunned. So let's get out of the way of these. Let's continue firing. No, fire the cannons at them. Make sure that these guys die quickly and with much aplomb. But we want this combat to be finished as quickly as possible because there are a lot of mines around. Maybe I'll go after him instead. Can you get him from right there? I don't think that I can. Okay, we'll fight with him then. And we'll finish him off in just a moment. I think that what I'd like to do is let's stun you off right here. We're right next to a village, so I'm not too worried about our HP getting low. Let's go ahead and ram right there because we have the armor available, and that should take him out pretty quickly. I just want to avoid taking too much damage on our MCV. That's one of my least favorite events, and so we got 32 bolts and some fuel back in there. I don't know, I clicked away from it pretty fast. You might not have seen it, but figured I'd bring it up here. We got 200 parts ready to go. We're going to spend a lion's share of those on repairs, but we do have a little surplus going on right now. So a couple options. We can give him a buzzsaw. And we can give him an aid unit, which means that he can ram enemies with impunity, and this adds 30 damage to every ramming attack, which actually ends up being quite the considerable sum of damage. We wasted a little bit of money getting his range upgraded, but oh well, everybody needs a good range, charcoal or propane, whatever it is. When you go to barbecue in the summer, you'll wish you had it. Let's sell off some of these so you can scrap your old material in order to get new material. What does he have on sale here at the shop? He's got some green items, and so that's a repair drone. It allows me to transfer MCV HP to other vehicles. We could also buy a super heavy laser if we wanted to. I've never bought that before, so I don't know what it does. Instead, I'm going to play it safe for right now. We're just going to buy a bunch of fuel. How's that sound? I'd rather save my money and buy a better vehicle later on. And so now what we'll do is let's get to the lowlands down here, get ourselves through Lolo, And we'll go back and see if we can find ourselves an opportunity to get ourselves some self-sealing stem bolts. Say that 10 times fast. You spot a battered and broken raider vehicle by the side of the road. Investigate. It looks too damaged to be useful. Okay. Disappointing, but I don't know. There's a couple ways that plays out. Sometimes it's a bomb and it's a trap. Sometimes there's a guy there and you get like a free vehicle. It plays out a lot of different ways. You arrive at the location of Eiffels Incorporated, and you arrive at the location... That's a weird sentence. So you arrive at the location Eiffels Incorporated is seeking to obtain. I guess it's not weird. I was just reading it oddly. It appears to be a regular stretch of desert, and there doesn't seem to be anything special about it. You spot a single mobile home. It looks decrepit and badly maintained. You knock on the door, and a man opens it. "What do you want?" he yells, pointing a splatter cannon or a scatter cannon at your face. You understand why Eiffels Incorporated didn't want to deal with this man themselves. Explain that you want to talk about acquiring the land. The man invites you in and says his name is Bad Max and tells you that he wasn't always a landowner. Apparently, he used to live a nomadic, adventurous life. You can hardly believe this wild-eyed character was ever adventurous. The old man said he wouldn't mind going back to that lifestyle. This piece of desert is starting to bore him, and he wants to trade the deed of land for parts and fuel to get his old car back up and running. Let's talk to him some more. He starts pouring a strong drink for you both. The parts and fuel would be to restore his old car. You start bonding with him. It seems like he'd like to join up with a gang again, but who can you trust these days? Let's offer to do the repairs for him. You follow him out back where a sand-covered truck stands. As he heads to the deed, or hands you the deed in good confidence, you start working on the car. Sand just seems to be getting in everything. You're sabotaging my beautiful ride, Bad Max says, reaching for his scatter cannon. You reach for your weapon before Bad Max has a chance to shoot and manage to blast his brains out. With him out of the picture, it's a simple matter to search the house for the deed. You prepare to return to Eiffels Incorporated, telling the two brothers of your success. So there's a couple things we could have done right there differently. Sometimes that plays out, and that's you can get him for free as a character, and he joins your party with the tank, and it's really, really badass. Or you can pay him money and fuel and get the tank. Unfortunately, we're far enough out right now to where I don't want to waste fuel on it, so I was trying to get him for free, but unfortunately RNG got us right there. Everything in this game is dictated by RNG aside from the combat, so just keep that in mind. When you do any of these events, there's no stat or anything that determines whether you win or lose. It's just a dice roll. That's going to annoy a lot of people, and in fact, I'm not a big fan of it. I wish that there were stats like charisma and things like that that you could use to get through some of these situations, but there's not, and so you accept the game for what it is, I guess. The signal appears to be coming from an old saloon. There are old cars in the front that look like they haven't been started in a long time. There's a foul stench in the air. The saloon seems so still, so dead and so forgotten. And then suddenly a large woman bursts through the saloon doors, and she yells and cheers for you and your men to come inside. Hell no. The large woman whistles loudly, and you hear several engines start from behind the saloon. You realize you need to drive faster. You easily escape the pursuing vehicles, and the saloon soon becomes a speck in the distance. So yeah, if you go inside there and you actually drink the liquor or whatever, she robs you and takes all of your scrap. It's bad. There, in the distance, you spot a big red barrel standing in the middle of the road. Drive around it. You drive around the big red barrel safely. If I know anything about video games, big red barrels are never a good prospect. You want to avoid that like the plague. Let's continue looking for quests around here. You receive the signal and a rowdy bunch of privateers singing, "O better far to live and die, under the brave black flag I fly, than play a sanctimonious part with a privateer head and a privateer heart." Okay. Let's attempt to contact them. The privateers respond, "We'd better pause, or danger may befall. Are you perchance a Major General?" "I am the very model of a modern Major General." The privateers stop their rowdiness and look at each other with panicked looks on their faces, and they offer you 66 parts to leave them be. Hooray! We accept the parts, and we advance our prospects in this world. We advance our motives, I guess. We got 229 right there. How close is the nearest... Where's the Mercury at? It's 105 over this way. We're probably going to end up really requiring some more fuel soon, and so I'm going to head off in that direction. We've almost got the stem bolts ready to go, but there's nothing... Ooh! While driving in the desert, a gust of wind uncovers a heavy MG buried in the sand. Hell yeah! Let's take it. I want it. The heavy MG is actually really, really nice. It's a good weapon. So we seem to be getting good RNG on this playthrough, aside from a few minor foibles. I wish that we could have gotten Bad Max. It would be almost a perfect playthrough if Bad Max had come along, but then again, I guess if I wanted to solidify and do that 100%, I should have just paid him and not been a cheap asshole. But I am what I am. So let's give him a gun, maybe? I'm going to try a different strategy this time. I'm going to ram people, but I'm also going to keep a machine gun. I don't know, I've never tried this before. I'm going to use the aid unit to ram continuously, but I'm also going to fire at them. Usually I put a buzzsaw on it so that I do more damage, but maybe we'll be able to do more in conjunction with the gun right here. Who knows? It's a strategy that I've never tried, so we'll try something new on this playthrough. We're probably not going to make it much more than 4 or 5 episodes anyways. Let's go ahead and buy some fuel, because I think that's important. We'll do some upgrades here as well. I think going through and giving everybody a little handling upgrade is a good plan in case we get caught behind a nasty little let's see, obstruction. And so he needs Mind Guard. We can increase that. That'll help out a little bit and lower damage slightly. And in fact, I would be more willing to go all in on that just to make sure that while we're going through, we don't actually catch ourselves in a minefield getting overly damaged. We need to find some equipment for him as well. But now that we have the fuel, let's go get the stem bolts, shall we? This is already taken care of, and before the map gets any worse, because the raiders and things, the factions get stronger as time goes along, so you want to work quickly when you play this game. Several vehicles approach your convoy. They bear the unmistakable marks of the local privateers. They like to chew on their vehicles. That's why they're marked. Let's finish this off, and we'll break off the episode, shall we? Looks like we've got an obstruction right there. Let me see if maybe we can get something done on this side. Open up on him and see if we can get a kill. We got a missile coming in right there, which is another one of the reasons why I went to all that effort. Oh, somebody's healing around here. Okay, so it's that unit right there. That means that technically this guy can target another unit, though, while simultaneously chasing them down. So essentially what he does is he had a leech unit, which allows him to take his own HP and transfer it to other people. One of those little warlock strategies. Let's get started on him. I'm going to pull around to right here. His shield is now down. Get started with the ramming. Do a little bit right there and then fall back so that the lasers can still hit him. And working in conjunction with our laser vehicle, we should be able to take this guy out pretty quickly. I'm going to get up in here and we're just going to ram him and get rid of him. This guy over here, his armor should go down pretty soon. There goes his shield right there. I could have knocked it out with my stun gun, I guess. A stipulation for using the EMP blaster. The EMP blaster, if the enemy has a shield around their vehicle, the EMP blaster kills their shield. Get out of the way of that right there. There we go. And so the combat is over. We took a little bit of damage on the McGriddle, unfortunately. I don't know what we took that from, but must have been major because that's like half of our health gone right now. Let's go with the self-sealing stem bolts. I'm going to try and stay on the road for right now because it seems safer. We're taking a lot of damage. And there are no refueling stops down here, as I recall. Several vehicles approach from the surrounding streets. The raider vehicles are led by a brown-haired, bearded man dressed in what looks like dirty overalls. Let's ice this mother trucker. Well, I'm going to break off the episode right here. My name is Splattercat. I'll see you next time. We'll come back with this combat. The game is Convoy so far if you like it. If you don't like the combat, you probably won't like the game, and I would stay away from it. But if you dig the combat, you can get a lot of hours out of it. I'll see you later. How do, everybody?